Anyway, but here I am all of a sudden like, fuck, I want to fuck this roast up. I want to fucking wreck this shit. I'm the guy for the job. So, and then it gets closer. My agent, who's fantastic, Marty Leasack at UTA, applies the pressure to this EP. He's like this old-timey legend who, reps Will Ferrell. And like, I have I'm like these agents and managers, naughty youngest kid. They all rep like the cleanest people. Seinfeld, Gaffigan, Nate Bargatze, like all these people that wear suits and like only talk about having grandchildren or whatever. And I'm like their naughty bastard kid that they kind of root for and like, because it's like he's a renegade. He's making this money different ways. It's not whatever. Anyway, he got excited and applied the pressure to the people over there at Netflix. And then the Dana thing hit, Jeff hit, Tom Brady hit, and this little storm started. So it ended up being, okay, we have an idea for you. Let's do a thing called, and first Jeff warned me, he's like, keep an open mind when we pitch you the idea that we're going to pitch you over this Zoom call, which I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. I'm going to come out on a unicycle and clown makeup and not get to do a joke. And they're like, we want you to do a thing called Kill Tommy. And I'm like, what? And I'm like trying to play it cool because I'm like, are you guys going to let me brand my podcast on this fucking diabolically huge comedy event? Like, this is what I'm thinking. They're like, yeah, and you pull a name out of a bucket and it's gonna be Dana White sitting next to you, and it's good for Dana because he'll only have to do a minute and da. And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And I go and I get to roast, and they're like, well, there's people at your table that you can make fun of. I go, you guys want me to make fun of the greatest fighters in the world that haven't been set up or made fun of, and Dana White, who runs the only sport that I like sitting next to the octagon for? You're gonna fuck up the only existing good relationship that I love in the world? You want me to just light up people at my table? They're like, yeah, well, you get a minute. You can get like a minute. Like, so Dana gets a minute and I get a minute? I'm like, eh. So, I had to fight the entire time up until rehearsal 24 hours before, which a rehearsal was just like a blocking. They're just seeing how everything looks on camera, and me and Dana are sitting there. And the short version of the story is like, I go, you guys have got to let me cook here. And I'm like not arguing with this executive producer lady or Jeff. It's kind of like, I'm kind of like, guys, this is like, I can do this. Let me show you what it would look like. Okay. And one person's like, we see it as a desk piece. Stay at the table. I'm like, I hear ya, but maybe I'm crazy here. This is literally what I said. And I saw my boys, Jerron Horton and Benji Aflalo, who are two writers for the roast, that I got into writing roast jokes again a fucking decade ago. So these are like it seems like they're working for them, but they're kind of like my fucking like interior soldiers that, are, and not owe me anything, but we're all fucking homies. Yeah. Anyway, they walk into this blocking rehearsal. So now I have like numbers a little bit, right? And there's all these stand-ins that are sitting there with your guys's things on the dais. Yeah. Like Bert Kreischer and Kevin Hart is some, different black guy standing there. They're looking for like camera blocking, all this shit. And I go, here's what it would look like. All right. So Dana White, ba, 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 ba. And then I go, fuck you, bitch. And I start walking. Right. And I go, here's the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out from under. I start showing them jokes, which I didn't do the whole time because you don't want other writers or anybody to hear any of your actual material. Yeah. I mean, they could hear your guys' material, but I mean, my good material, I didn't want them to hear any killer jokes that I had written. Yes. Because, it's a sneaky business, especially in Hollywood. That's why, one of the many reasons why I got the fuck out is like, make your own shit, save it for you, enough giving it away. So I wasn't doing any of my jokes during the blocking thing. And they're like, come on, Tony, show us what you're going to do. And
how far ahead were you doing, were you prepping the jokes?
So what's crazy is that I put together a small 4-person army immediately. I treated this like I had my own fucking, like I was on the thing, like I was going to do a full set immediately at my giant fucking, office that I have. Anyway, so like I treated it, and maybe it's not necessarily manifestation,
maybe
but it was
where
extreme preparation.
Another place where we differed. Keep going.
Oh, preparation, yeah. Preparation H, maybe. Am I right, hemorrhoid guys? No, I'm kidding. Anyway, but I really did, and I was obsessed with it, and it was kind of crazy because I'm like, holy shit, I am only obsessing about this right now. But if it goes good, it'll give me 4 or 5 days to obsess about my show at the Forum, which I had already put a lot of effort into before the roast thing. So it's kind of crazy because I put all my chips into this roast, which is crazy because, again, I knew I was 2 hours into the show at this point because that's important. And I figured that out. I know that about roasting because the deeper you're in, the more you have to kind of cut or readjust. And
so you're really dialed into what's happening on stage, right?
Super.
Would you be? Did you
super.
edit? I think you edited something out.
Oh, tons.
Yeah, no, I'm saying even from prompter, right? Because I think
100%. I was switching things around. Yeah. I know. I was switching things around.
Yeah.
And moving things and sliding in new things and new headers and new sweeteners and even the nice shoes, bitch. Did you win those in the divorce? The Belichick, everything that I started with, which is a huge fucking risk. Everything that I started with, I wrote at the table.
I gotcha.
I'm like, okay, nobody's hit that. Randy Moss was begging for a ring. Bill Belichick's phone isn't ringing. Ring. Those shoes I was staring at Tom Brady's shoes the whole time because his pant legs were riding high, and I'm literally right there like, God, those are some gay fucking shoes. I wonder if they'll zoom in if I hit them on this.
Yeah.
Because they were like women's boots. And by the way, that's another thing. You talk about like especially a risk at the top of the set. In that situation, first of all, I could have fallen up the fucking stairs. Like, it's live. Anything could go wrong. And when I said my opening line, that when I did that turn from Dana and I go, nice shoes, bitch, and I'm fucking making sure I'm not falling up the stairs. Did you win those in the divorce? He goes, and I don't think anybody noticed this. He goes, yeah, I'll shove one of these right up your fucking ass. Because he didn't know who, he must not.
Is that what he said?
He must not have remembered who the fuck I am or whatever. Oh, he said it in the moment. And if you watch that roast, if you watch it, you can't really see it there because the pant legs are down, but they go high. They're so gay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, I'll shove it up your ass. And at that moment, like, you'll notice if you rewatch it, like I go, oh, hey, everybody, it's quite a day up here because my brain is going, do you acknowledge what Tom Brady just said?
No.
Or do you plow forward? It's a $1 million moment right now.
You made the
and
right
I
call.
go, oh, God, I should acknowledge it, but it wasn't mic'd. Nobody else heard it. It's too early. It could throw off everything. Yeah. Ignore. Let's go. Run the ball. I always go back to like football or UFC analogies. Anyway, so I ignore that, which is fucking great that I did because I've made those mistakes before on shit.
That's the difference between guys that are doing a roast for the first time and guys like you have been doing it for fucking 15 plus years.
Yes, exactly. And again, Kill Tony helps. Everything helps. You have to know what to ignore and what to move on. Keep the momentum going.
That's the thing for performing regular shows too. Especially when you're doing stand up in arenas, sometimes you hear something or see something and your brain in a moment has to go, is that worth acknowledging? Because you realize 15,000 people didn't see that. Yep. Are you going to derail the show?
Exactly.
And unless it's like noteworthy, you let things slide. And you have to.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden people at home are like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking
about?
Say?
Like, I bet you'd love to do that, Tom.
Yeah.
Like,
huh? Do what?
That's not the only thing you want to shove up my ass.
Yeah.
What was your next joke right after that?
After the shoes up the ass, I went straight to because the positioning had changed. So like so many things changed. Originally I had Kevin Hart's shadow, Randy Moss. That's not your shadow, that's Randy Moss. But now Gronk was sitting in between, or no, not Gronk. Belichick was sitting in between Gronk and Randy Moss. So instead of abandoning that joke completely, I switched it to Gronk, Kevin Hart. And I wrote the Randy, because now I'm like, I didn't realize Randy Moss was going to be next to Bill Belichick because that wasn't in the blocking thing. Bill Belichick was a special guest, came out late. So I'm like, oh, I can go this way. So I go Randy Moss. Crazy that you asked Bill Belichick for a ring. You know what else doesn't have a ring? Bill Belichick's phone. And then but we're here for Tom, Aaron Hernandez stool, and all this stuff. Kevin Hart. Right? So I was moving now geographically.
Can I interrupt?
Instead of, yeah.
Was it your choice to walk the dais? Because that was my favorite part.
Yes, so I didn't actually get to finish. When Jerron and Benji and everybody in this rehearsal are coming in and they're like, it's a desk piece. And I'm like, having me sit at this table and shooting it like that for a minute is like hiring the world's greatest sushi chef to make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You guys have to let me cook. I don't even like use like cool slangs like that, but I had heard it recently and I'm like, I kind of like that. Like, you have to let me cook. Let me cook.
Someone make that as a t-shirt.
Yeah. Let me
Tony
cook.
Hinchcliffe, let him cook.